So thanks, Ian, for joining us on SecretEntourage.com. We appreciate you taking a second to talk to us. It's really a pleasure to have you on, and I've been kind of doing a little bit of background and research on your past. From what I understand, you're the expert at bringing niche markets into becoming actual businesses. So tell us a little bit about what that means and what is this thing called the Anything Coral?
Anything coral basically is any product that comes out of the ocean that could be propagated or grown indoors, which basically means saltwater corals. Yeah, we can get fish and we can get anything else in tanks and blah, 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 but that's not really my specialty. My specialty is the stuff that people can't get. My specialty is giving people who've already got the cars, you've already got the house, you've already got the girls, what can't you get basically that money can buy? And that's pretty much what I specialize in doing with Anything Coral.
So is Anything Coral like a coral reef business? What is that exactly? Because I think a lot of our viewers will be like, you got to be kidding. You can't actually make a business out of coral reef. Or what is that?
First of all, the biggest thing, when I used to go to these big meetup groups, if you will, these guys are people in the reef industry. The guys, the CEOs, the big people who have these big, ridiculous saltwater tanks. And the biggest joke in the industry was, yeah, kid, if you could figure out how to make money on coral, you make a lot of money because nobody's ever made money growing coral. So, I mean, it's literally taken more than a decade of fucking losing money and blah, 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 to actually get to the point to acquire the customers, to acquire the pieces, to grow these exotic corals, to have a brood stock, to where I got people on waiting lists. So, at the end of the day, any saltwater corals that are in these tanks, live corals, not the fake corals that you see in these big hotels that everyone thinks are nice, but the real corals, the ones that I said, man, for a quarter inch to maybe an inch or two or a couple grand. That's what I specialize in.
So you actually sell coral to people, and real coral, not fake coral. Can you tell us a little bit about who buys this stuff and why is there a waiting list for it?
Yeah, well, two things. So you can go on right now and buy coral pretty much from a lot of different websites. The grade of the coral is going to be C to B grade corals. If you really want the A corals, the stuff that nobody has, the stuff that public aquariums come to myself for, that's what you can get through my company. I said, man, I literally started from the bottom. I mean, full-blown from the bottom. There's very, very few people that start off with saltwater tanks from that position. Most people go in, they've got money. I've always seen these saltwater tanks. I've heard they're pretty expensive. I mean, beautiful. Can I get one? Not many people literally pull the fish out of a tropical fish tank, pour salt in the back of a filter, and kind of start up like that.
So let me ask you this. So you said you started at the bottom. Let's go back to this for a second. Is this what you've done your entire life? Like, did you ever do anything before this? Did you have a regular job, or did you own another business or anything else?
And the last job I had, to tell you the truth with you, was when I was 16 years old, just loading dirt, at a normal, your normal garden center. But I was 13. My mom didn't really want me to work, so I worked illegally for the Chinese, and I worked in this little kind of crappy saltwater fish store, if you will, pet shop, and the only things that they would let me do are dust products off. I'd clean the toilets, and I would sweep a couple times a day. I'd sweep by this little saltwater tank that they used to have, and it was just beautiful, man. They had this little saltwater ecosystem with all these colors and stuff moving back and forth. And it was also, too, not only it was about that, but I used to see the guys come in and that would buy this stuff, and there was no prices on this. So, as a young guy, trying to work and, trying to make money, it was the whole thing. It was just like a crazy vision to me. There was this whole life, and there was, these crazy corals, and maybe these people have these huge, massive tanks in their house. So, of course, they didn't have enough money to buy any of this stuff because it was too expensive. So, I really started with the stuff that the store couldn't sell. Basically, the brown corals. As I said, stuff nobody wants. There's nothing cool about having a brown piece of coral in the tank. So, I started from there, man, and really just started up. Started just kind of watching stuff grow, watching stuff die, recycling the money, buying nicer pieces. And it literally took over my life, man. I mean, by the time I was 16, when I first got my license, even when I'd go out with girls, I mean, I'd make that part of our date. I grew up in the Bay Area, so in an area called Marin County. So I'd be hitting bridges every day. Basically, we'd be going to different coral stores. I'd get lunch, then let's go to the East Bay and check out this store. And it was always a way to make it cool. It's not one of those hobbies that's just boring at the end of the day. I mean, saltwater corals, that's the craziest thing. You see this stuff in National Geographic. And I got stuff, as I said, that they literally, physically, the oceans can't grow no more. And, we're growing it indoors, which is pretty damn cool. So it's always been a personal passion. It's something I love. And I always feel at the end of the day, a saltwater tank, it really means a lot about your lifestyle. If you walk into somebody's house and there ain't nothing in the living room but white marble and a massive saltwater tank with endangered species, that's some real deal stuff. So,
well, you said you grow this stuff and the ocean can't even keep up with it anymore. Isn't there a risk to growing something and can't it die like a plant in a sense?
Yeah, man, you hit the risk right on the head. Because as I said, at the end of the day, a lot of people are business people and they're, okay, hold on, you got this young guy doing this, how come nobody else has done this? I can't tell you how many investors I've had, blah, 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 let me invest in you, you're doing this, I got the capital you need to go massive. The risk in this is utterly ridiculous. It's like the stock market on crack. It's like the stock market when you've got terrorist attacks every day. It's full-blown. For example, one of the reasons I think that I'm very good at business is because of coral. Coral's taught me everything I need to know about, I'd say 95% of my business knowledge is from growing coral. It's super vulnerable, it's super volatile, from the shipping point, from the receiving point, from the quarantine point, from every single point of the product. It's, you deal with a lot of stuff. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I literally had like a little 25-cent snail, a 25-cent snail. Clog a little hardwire tubing and probably crash around $80,000 for the coral just overnight, a little 80-cent snail, or you can have your temperature come down, you have your temperature start rising by 4 degrees, coral start stressing, coral start leaching different things into your system, 4-degree hit in a couple hours could crash the system, and as I said, it's not like I can just make a phone call and re-up on new corals, when you get coral, you buy blind at my point.
So what keeps you in this type of business if it's that fluctuating, that risky? I mean, is the revenue that good?
The revenue is good. The revenue's good. As I said, it's when I was little, I always said that I wanted to have the nicest saltwater tank on the planet. When you go to public aquariums or when you talk to people who are in the industry, you talk to these people who have these multi-million-dollar facilities, and the progress is, to be honest, man, it's nothing impressive. A lot of the stuff that they're starting to do in the reefs now, it's like small business for big business. These big guys take so long to make moves. It takes so long to adjust. The innovation doesn't come from these big guys. So it's something that's motivated me. As I said, the fact that I can grow endangered saltwater coral species, and I could pretty much call my clients, is awesome. I really don't care how much money you have. To my opinion, it's, do I like you? Do I want to sell to you? I've got athletes, celebrities. I've got the people, as I said, I've got people who literally feed their fish corals. Feed their fish corals. You can buy perfectly great fish food. They don't care, dude. They'd have a beautiful tank and let the fish eat natural corals, which to anybody who understands ecosystems and whatever, that's pretty ridiculous. Saltwater corals is dope, man. As I said, it's one of those things that's super exotic. It always will be rare, and it caters to a certain individual. And I've always said I've never met a boring person really that has an interest in the saltwater hobby on a real level. Because at the end of the day, man, if you're into saltwater corals, it says a lot too about your personality. You're different. You're rare. You don't want what your neighbor has, and it's as I said, man, it's a whole other world.
Very cool. How old are you today, if I may ask?
I turned 27.
27. And
right.
Now that you look back, did you actually have a chance to go to college?
To be really honest with you, I literally just graduated probably about a year ago.
Well, congratulations.
And it was always a big joke because, when I was at college, as you go through college, people think it's this big rush, and oh, hey, Ian, so you're gonna be graduating next year? What is it? Like your sixth year?